Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi Leonard is looking like the fraud of the generation in the NBA. Like I don't know where we got to this point, man. I thought that this was a guy who just wanted to play basketball and be left alone. Apparently, he wanted to play basketball, be left alone, and cheat the system for as much as he can to make as much money as he possibly could. But apparently, Kawhi Leonard, it wasn't just the tree company that was paying him a phony endorsement so that he can earn more money annually beyond what will be allowed to him via the NBA salary cap. There was apparently another deal on top of the tree company deal. So there were multiple companies paying him a no-show sponsorship deal so that his annual earnings can be enough to satiate whatever his desire for whatever he wanted to make was, and not be inhibited by what the salary cap could afford him. And this has put a halt on his trade to the Raptors. The Clippers were in the midst of trading him to the Raptors. The NBA put a pause on that as it continues to investigate this situation. And they're saying that this investigation can go well into 2027 as they continue to unearth more about these sponsorship deals that were apparently meant to circumvent the salary cap so that Kawhi Leonard can earn whatever he wanted, even though his actual NBA salary capped what he could possibly make. This is something that is illegal according to NBA bylaws. So this says Kawhi Leonard reportedly had another undisclosed sponsorship deal. The NBA's investigation into Kawhi Leonard just got another multi-million-dollar wrinkle. According to ESPN, Leonard reportedly had a previously undisclosed sponsorship agreement with Daktronics, the company behind the massive Halo board inside the Clippers' $2 billion Intuit Dome. More significantly, one source alleged the arrangement was another avenue for getting money from the Clippers to Leonard outside his NBA contract. An anonymous high-level source working under contract for Intuit Dome didn't mince words when speaking with Torre. It was 1,000% a way to circumvent the salary cap. It was funneling money from the Clippers through Daktronics back to Kawhi. An anonymous former Clippers official separately said that they were aware Kawhi Leonard had an endorsement agreement with Daktronics. How much Leonard allegedly received, when the deal began, and what he was expected to do in return remain unclear. Daktronics, meanwhile, isn't saying much. A representative told Hunter Brook Media that Leonard does not currently have a contract with the company, while declining to discuss the reported previous arrangement in detail. I don't know what the company wants to say or can say given the Watchell investigation and all that the spokesperson said. The revelation may also answer one of the bigger questions surrounding the NBA's expanding investigation. The Athletic reported in July that Watchell, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz, the outside law firm conducting the league's inquiry, was examining another previously unreported Leonard endorsement in addition to expenses allegedly covered by the Clippers without reimbursement. Until now, most of the scrutiny centered on Leonard's $28 million endorsement deal with Aspiration. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer invested millions in the green banking company in 2021. The same year, Aspiration landed a 23-year, $300 million sponsorship agreement with the franchise. 6 months later, Aspiration signed Leonard. The Clippers have repeatedly denied using Aspiration to circumvent the salary cap. Ballmer has maintained that the organization merely introduced Leonard's representatives to the company before stepping away from negotiations. He also said he ultimately lost $60 million in Aspiration and was flagrantly defrauded. Company co-founder Joseph Sandberg was sentenced to 14 years in federal prison in June for defrauding investors and lenders. So that's pretty much the gist of it, man. It's looking like Daktronics may also be right there in line with Aspiration for being a middleman that served the Clippers with funneling money to Kawhi that was outside the salary cap. So for anybody who might be saying, what's the big deal? Players can get endorsement deals that are away from their contracts. That is true, but they cannot be at the behest of the team they play for. Otherwise, every organization would be doing that. So it isn't that Kawhi Leonard had endorsement deals. It was that these endorsement deals were operated by the Clippers themselves. So it was like the Clippers were creating an artificial additional revenue stream so that they can pay Kawhi Leonard, therefore not being hampered completely by the salary cap in terms of what they themselves could pay him. So, what do you make of this latest development with Daktronics and Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, man, this is this whole situation is interesting because you know, Kawhi is made to seem like the villain here. Um, uh, you've seen Kawhi Leonard. Um, this guy's no mastermind. And I don't mean that to be insulting. I mean, he's no mastermind. I'll take him for somebody that's going, oh, okay. Y'all want to do that? Yeah, we'll do this over here. We'll move money over there. We got this company over here, and then we'll pay you this much. And he's like, okay. And that's as far as Kawhi Leonard went in my mind. So he's no master. He's got agents here. Okay. He's got, CEOs. He's got all of these people. He's got all of these billionaires around him that said, hey, man, we want you here by any means. We'll do this over here. We'll do this over there. We'll move this over around over here, and you'll get additional X amount of $1 million. And Kawhi was like, okay, and that's it. This dude that's investigating them and making it seem like Kawhi is out here, running some type of rink. You know what I'm saying? Like he's out here really he's doing white collar crime. He's not, So I'm not trying to excuse him because I know he knew what was going on. He may not have known the extent of it, of whose hands were shaking what. And it was like, hey, man, since you did get the contract, you do have to show up to this ribbon cutting thing, or you do have to. So he was aware of what was going on, but he's not the mastermind of it. He just plays basketball. And so, of course, and we covered it here, where Steve Ballmer was, saying that I'm the one that's got frauded here. I'm you don't mess with people who are billionaires. He's a you think he's going to prison? These billionaires, they're professional money launderers. Professionals. They're professional white collar criminals, allegedly. Okay. So they're not going to get in trouble for it. It'll be a black eye on them, on the organization, but he's not going to take the fall. This guy that's doing 14 years is the guy that's going to get the fall. So, the part about this that's very interesting is that Kawhi Leonard is the bad guy. He's the person being demonized in all of this, when he is literally just a pawn in the game of people out there literally playing Monopoly. And they just moving stuff over here, paid the banker off over there, and they just wanted this hotel on this property. That's it. And literally, Kawhi is just one of the hotels on a property. And so it didn't plan out the way that they wanted to. I mean, he was milking them just like he milked everybody else. Okay, he sat out. He didn't play. Soft tissue. You know what I'm saying? Load management. All of that stuff, man. So, the investment didn't come back. And heads had to roll. So, hey, look, man, it's a funny conversation to me. Should Kawhi have done it? No. Was Kawhi the only person to ever do this? No.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the only person to do this in sports? No. And in the NBA, I mean, no. This goes on replete, I believe. Come on, man. You think LeBron's literally playing for vet minimum? Yeah, I'm not accusing him, but it's like, let's be serious here. He can afford to do that, but you think he is? Tom Brady was taking pay cuts because his wife's a billionaire. You think he really had to? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many cases out there where people could be getting money under the table. So, for whatever reason, Kawhi got exposed. Again, I'm not making excuses for him or any of these other people. All I'm saying is that, it's funny how that, Kawhi is just the guy taking the fall for all of this. But everybody else that's involved, everybody that was paying him, is pretty much going off scot-free for the most part. You know, their names aren't getting drugged through the mud. Maybe it's because it doesn't have enough notoriety. Who knows? But all in all, you know, I think that this is just how business goes in America. You know, people are surprised to see it go down with athletes, but this is the first one we've heard about. But what are your thoughts, man, on Kawhi Leonard yet again getting exposed for yet another shell company paying him for absolutely nothing? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, Steve Ballmer would be under way more trouble if he was caught on a voicemail recording calling Kawhi Leonard a monkey. Mm-hmm. Like if that were to happen, we'd be looking at a situation where Ballmer would be forced to sell the team. Mm-hmm. My point in saying that is, like, in this particular, you know, in this particular version of America where money and resources is king, you know, white collar criminal activity or any sort of white collar illegalities aren't really going to get you more than a slap on the wrist, in my opinion, in comparison to other things that just enrage the public, like the revelation that you have or are at one point, that you have at one point been or might still be, like a racist, right? Mm-hmm. So like I said, man, if Steve Ballmer were caught on a recording saying something racial about Kawhi Leonard or any of his players, then it would be like a DEFCON 5, you know, and we'd be trying to get him out of there. But stuff like this, where you're actually compromising the integrity of the entire sport, which to me is more damaging than maintaining racist attitudes, he's going to get nothing more than a slap on the wrist. And mind you, a slap on the wrist is what? $100 million. It can be a $50 million fine. To him, that's a slap on the wrist because he's one of the wealthiest people in the world. He's certainly the richest owner in the NBA. And he is like top 5 richest owners in all of professional sports in America. He's up there. Like, he caked up that like that. Like, he has NFL owner money type stuff. Mm-hmm. So nothing is slowing down this momentum. And I really do believe that the only reason why this story has the legs that it has is because these other organizations who are doing the exact same thing but haven't gotten caught are shaking in their boots because they're wondering whether the result of this can quiet the noise around these types of things enough that no one like Pablo Torre is going to go around snooping to figure out who else is doing it. Mm-hmm. But if this doesn't go away loudly enough, and if principal individuals involved aren't punished severely enough, it's not going to stop people like Torre from looking into who else is doing it. And I think that's what has the rest of the league a little nervous, because I, like you, also believe not every other team, a lot of other teams are doing this because the salary cap is fugazi. Like the salary cap is meant to institute parity and some sort of form of fairness, yet it's never done that and it never will. Organizations and teams are always going to figure out ways to get the best players to sign, to figure out how to creatively find money to sign whoever they want. The salary cap is fugazi. They need to just get rid of it. It doesn't work. Like, there's this fear that the salary cap is going to adversely penalize small market teams and all of this other stuff. They're just in fear, paralyzed by the idea that the league isn't fair. Well, the league isn't fair now.
It isn't.
And it hasn't been. Like, the existence of the salary cap is not going to make a player want to play in Milwaukee when they can go play in New York or LA. Like, the salary cap doesn't fix that. You're not going to fix that. Some players are going to take the supermax because, they see that check, but other players care about lifestyle and all of that other stuff just as much, if not more. Salary cap doesn't fix any of that. So, they really need to get rid of it because all it's doing is just strangling the lifeblood out of the NBA, in my opinion. Like, it's hampering them. But it's not, and the league, these organizations know that, and that's why they're so quick to buck it. They don't care about it. They'll circumvent it any chance they get. So I kind of feel like this is an existential threat towards the rest of the organizations who might be doing the exact same thing, because they're saying to themselves, if they don't lay the hammer down on the result of this as much as they can, and other people go snooping around, we might be next. And I think that's really what has them freaking out about it. And I think that's what's generating the majority of the interest in the outcome of this particular situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And, I think personally, I think the salary cap I think they need to do something about it. I think it does kind of rein some things in, but much like in any other sport, well, let's say like baseball, for instance, the Yankees are always in position. The Red Sox, they be in position. The Dodgers are in position like that. But those are organizations that care.
Exactly.
And so in the NBA, it's the same thing. There's organizations that care, and there's just other organizations that are just existing.
Exactly.
Same thing going on in the NFL, where there's organizations that actually care about what they're doing, and they're actually trying to win. And there's other people out there that's just trying to sell season tickets. And so you're not going to, the salary cap in and of itself isn't going to create the competitive balance. So that I agree with. But at the same time, I do want to see a star over here and a star over there, because they can't afford 5 of them, because one thing about the Yankees is like, all right, bro, like, dish some of this out, man. You know what I'm saying? You got this guy, you got that guy. The Dodgers, come on, bro. You got this dude, that dude, and the other dude. You got the dude playing pitcher and outfield and first base and this and that. Like, come on, man. They got the whole damn thing. And it's like, this isn't fun technically, But again, if, let's say, sorry, Kansas City, but let's say the Kansas City Royals actually got, Ohtani, but just by himself. That's not going to change that franchise. You think it would, but him by himself is not going to change everything.
But the moment that he becomes a free agent, he's out of there. And the moment that he gets tired of the losing, he's going to demand a trade.
He's going to go to the bigger market that actually.
Yeah, one of those things is an inevitability. That's why I don't see the point of a salary cap, because that's always what ends up happening. I think what you said is right on the money, and salary caps don't legislate that. Like, salary caps cannot legislate desire. They don't legislate they don't legislate caring. So Oklahoma City is not a big market. It's not. But they actually care. They invest in scouts. They invest in a GM who actually knows what he's doing and cares. And so what you have as a result is an organization that, despite being small market, competes year after year because they care and they try. So you hit it right on the head. And I don't see the salary cap as something that controls that, because the Wizards have been horrible my whole life. I'm 40. The Wizards have never been good. And the salary cap has existed since before I was born, and it hasn't helped the Wizards be better. So all you're doing with the creation of all of this, apron this, salary cap that, super max, second apron, all of this other stuff, incentives for players who re-sign with the team that they're on, like, it's meant to create parity, but all you're doing is creating more avenues for people to cheat, in my opinion. And so, like, the Clippers doing this, I really don't even look at the Clippers no type of way. I honestly don't.
Me either.
Because it's just like, bro, this guy has billions upon billions of dollars and he wants to win games.
Right.
So what do you want him to do? Just fall in line with these dumbass rules and just let other teams who have more and better resources continue to win at a higher level than him, even though he has more money? All these people know how to do is throw money at all their problems anyway.
That's true.
So I never bought the salary cap. I never did, because my entire life I've only seen the same teams be good, and every team that's always bad stays bad. Even if they get number 1 overall picks, it doesn't matter. They still suck.
That's true. Not just number 1 overall picks. I mean, sometimes they have like 2 lottery picks and and 3 overall first round picks, and they're still dog water. You know what I'm saying? And so that's true, man. So I probably have to work out some of that, because I'm just in the I got some cognitive dissonance here, man. I'm like, what do you mean no salary cap? But like I said, I've seen historically my whole life, and the Wizards is a great example. Charlotte Hornets to a degree as well, of just perpetually losing. And that's why I feel like those organizations in a large portion is just money laundering, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money that is billions of dollars when you're talking TV deals, tickets, all this other stuff that gets funneled through these operations. And I know something's getting washed in the middle of all of this, and these owners are just running these things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's some type of tax break, weird things that's going on, and it's not about sports at all with these organizations. So that I agree with. So yeah, I might have to revisit that in my brain, but overall, man. Yeah, man, I personally don't see anything wrong for what it wasn't legal and things, and it was against the league rules and all this other stuff, but I personally don't care. And that's the part about this where I don't think anybody really cares. I think people think that it's messy, but and it's circulating the news, and I think people just point and stare and haha, that's crazy. But I don't think anybody really cares about any of this. It's just outrageous and salacious. But for the most part, it's not anything that grossly offends people. Me personally, like I said on my initial point there, Kawhi was just going, "Oh, y'all gonna do
that?" Yeah,
y'all can do that. And Ballmer's like, "Hell yeah, I do it all the time with my hedge fund and my life insurance. Just move it over here. I got Bill over there." And then I was like, "Okay." You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's it. So I personally, for the most part, don't blame Kawhi. But at the same time, man, you just gotta have you gotta have people on your team and in your corner. Somebody that's gonna say, "Hey, man, I don't think that's cool. Just go ahead and sign with Milwaukee, or go ahead and sign over here, or whatever." So I think this is just a life lesson for other people, man. And honestly, man, if you got something going on in your personal life, who knows? The day may come where people are going, "Hey, man, I can just move this over here. Put this over here in this account." I do it all the time. And it's like, yeah. But I'm going to be the fall guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be the fall guy because the people over here, the people over there, and I'm the dunce that said yes to you. So I think all of this is just a valuable lesson for everybody out there, man. All money ain't good money. And, Kawhi is making millions of dollars per season. And I'm pretty sure he didn't really need that extra for all of this trouble he's got himself into. So, it's never worth it. I will say that that's my takeaway from all of this.
Yeah, I definitely hear that for sure. Mm-hmm. But there's the aspect of it where it's like the rules were broken. Okay, fine, I get that. But there's a larger aspect of it for me where it's like, okay, well, what are the rules and how much sense do they make? You know what I'm saying? And I've been paying attention to this stuff for long enough to know the salary cap doesn't really do what it's intended to do, in my estimation. And the salary cap and the existence of it is the reason why there is this situation even took place it's the reason why we're even talking about this, because it was an attempt to get around it. But I don't know, what does the salary cap actually solve? I don't know. I still don't know.
Fair question.